Okay, so I know that when I was doing this video, I kind of said you could do, and if you did different separate commits, that's fine, as long as I see one that has all those in there. Remember, if you don't get something done, right, tell me what you tried, right? And I want to see your code. If you didn't get working code, then tell me what you tried. That way we can, I really want to see effort here, like make some effort to do some coding. Okay, so here's what I would do. I'd go back up here, and I would evaluate this display. Well, right now we're doing the for, right? We're just doing array, right? Because each one of those is an array, right? So when we're doing the for here, and we're iterating over that array, now we're going to change it, right? So there's a couple things I might do. I might do this. I might copy this, leave it in place, paste it, is what I would do. Come back up here and comment this one out. And the reason I would do that is in case I ever needed any of that code, I'd have it for later. So now what I would say is I would say for let I equal 0. Now why would I do that? Because I need to have the first array in that array. Remember, it's a multi-dimensional array. Okay, so now what I could do is I could say I less than or equal to, and here's the key, is now I want the loop to go over as many entries that are in the array, and what I could use to control that, the condition itself, would be this dot length. Okay, so evaluate, this is the condition, so this is the initialization, this is the condition, and then I could do that I++. Okay, now when I do that, that's the first thing. Now the other thing I could do here is, before I could comment this out, just to see, right, did I set, how many times did it run, right? So I could look at my I. So I could come over here, right, let it run. And by the way, I have my breakpoint here. I no longer need that. I'd come up here. Oh yeah, there's no, oh yeah, no, it should display output. Oh yeah, I have a breakpoint. I was going to say, why isn't it running? So in this case, right, let's go down here. Let's actually look here. Set this. Okay, so the first time through, I didn't even walk through it like I did before, right? So 0. So that would make sense, because I would want the first, so remember, right? Oh, sorry, CFP data. Okay, so there's 4 entries, and each of those entries is an array. So now I've got to change my references here to reflect how do I reach in and get that item in there. So I'll show you. So now I'll just do the first couple, right? So this is the one that looks at the output. This is the one, we'll just do the total, because the other one will take a long time. And really, you should play around with it, because that's a good thing to know how to do, right? So I'll just do an H2 for the total, right? And then I could just do the H2 here. Only reason I'm not doing the others, I recommend doing the others. So how would we change this reference? Because what I want is the total. So what I do now is, instead of, because I don't have that array, so I'd say, I'd reference the array. I'd say the I first. Let's stop there. Okay? And to see if it's pulling the right one, or which one is it pulling that number. Okay, let it run. Let it run. Let it run. There we go. So that is the first, right? That is the first array. And so where do we, so 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So which position here now would be 4? Now, you can kind of see here why I don't really like using standard for loops, because the code just looks messier. but it's good to know. Well, let's actually go look at it and see if it works. Maybe I have an error in my code. Let's walk through it. Oh, no, that works, right? No, I would definitely say go ahead and change the rest of this. But more than anything, what I want you to see is how I did this. So we used the for loop, but in this case we set the condition to check for the length, right? Is it less than or because that way the length could be variable, meaning yours is going to be different. Why is that true? Because of the number of times you called it, because every time you called it, it, in this case, right here, pushed a new array into the array, giving us a multi-dimensional array. I know that was probably a challenge. And you know, it's good to challenge ourselves to try to do things even though somebody hasn't shown us, because if you just see somebody do it without being challenged to think about it, you don't learn as much, because then when somebody shows you, oh, here's how you would do it, you tend to really get it at a new level. All right, so that's introduction to loops. We now have seen the for loop. There is a for while loop or a do while loop. Definitely check these out because you're going to see these in coding, right? So at some point, I almost did a challenge to have you write just a do while loop. But more than anything, look at these so when we do see them in the future, you have some exposure. Okay, that'll be it for loops. We're going to see them again and again, but hopefully this gave you a good introduction.